with laughs and debates, the love never done.
Hey, welcome back to Yorkshire Saint podcast, powered by Acorn Joinery Leeds. We want to start by offering our condolences to the Burrow family after the passing of Jeff, Rob's dad. Deepest condolences. We're very sorry for your loss. We welcome, finally, a Saints fan onto the podcast. The Cumbrian Saint, as I call him, Tom Ferguson. Welcome, mate.
All right, mate. How's it going?
Top of the world, considering what's going on. Let's get on with this now, so Carl can get his little song and dance out the way.
Cheers, guys. No, I'm not gonna rub it into too much, but what I will say is what an absolute pleasure the 30th birthday of Super League was, because let's be honest, fellas, you know, the round of games threw up some serious scorelines that I'm pretty sure all four of us didn't expect. So we've literally had a treat for a birthday treat, so to speak. So yeah, we
a lot of predictions have gone down the pan
with that.
Oh yeah, certainly.
Yeah, they certainly have. Just before we get on to them results, fellas, Tom, welcome, mate. How you doing? And how long have you been a St Helens fan? And obviously, where did it start? Where the rugby league journey start for you, mate?
Yeah, so let's wind Jordan up then, obviously, because when I became a Saints fan, I turned on the TV in 2007 and Saints were playing Leeds, and obviously they beat them. And I just fell in love.
You should be used to that
moment. To be fair, just the motto of the club and the song, it just spoke to me, so that's why I chose them.
Yeah, I think there's an old saying, isn't there? You know, some of us choose them and some teams choose us. And I'm pretty sure that's the same for most rugby league fans in general. Getting on to the round 6 results, fellas. Obviously, first of all, there was a game on Thursday night. Castleford, they played Bradford. Castleford came away with I would say it was a shock result. 40 points to 28 in the Tigers' favour. I mean, I think we all pretty much predicted Bradford to win this last week, fellas. So just shows you what we know. And did you see that one coming, Gaz?
No, I had thought for all the world Bradford were going to win that game, and quite comfortably as well. Cass, just pulling out the act, really, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, after the trouncing the week before to the Warrington Wolves, 70-odd points or whatever it was, it was certainly, if you went in the bookies and put a fiver on, you'd have been coming out with a decent amount of money. I mean, Jordan, do you think Bradford can kick on from that result, mate, or was it just a one-off loss, or do you see them declining a little bit now as, you know, people are missing, etc., and we're getting that little bit deeper into the season?
No, I think they'll be all right. I think it might just be one of those games where, you know, I think we've said it week by week that these lower teams like Castleford, Huddersfield, they've got to find the wins, haven't they? And I think it's just like I think it was one of those games where Cass just probably turned it on and were the better team on the day, which you know, full credit to Bradford though, because like I say, they're doing well out of this season. Like I say, they're allowed slumps. Probably, like I say, probably the game where you didn't expect them to lose. You know, when you expect them to play like Saints, Wigan, Leeds, or whatever, you know, you expect them probably to be losses, maybe. But we'd have backed. Obviously, anyone would have backed him with Cass, but Cass have got some answers, haven't they? They've got to sort out stuff, haven't they? So answer critics, etc. So. Good credit to Cass though. Credit to Cass.
Yeah, the answer to a lot of questions in that game.
Sorry, fellas, I'm just coughing my guts up as standard. I was just about to say, Tom, I mean, it was only a couple of weeks you guys went over there and give Cass a bit of a game. I think Gaz said Saints weren't great, but did you really see the Tigers beating the Bradford Bulls, Tom?
No, I didn't. I didn't have them in my predictor to beat them. I mean, I think what Jordan says, you know what I mean. They've got to find wins, and they've found that performance for that night. That's something that they can obviously build on. But I don't think that Bradford should get too disheartened by it. No one's really going to go the season unbeaten, and the old saying goes, you learn more from your losses than your wins.
Yeah, it was a bit of a point-a-thon at one point because one team would score and then the other team would score and then there'd be penalties given and then the momentum switched, sort of swooped from left to right, Gaz. And I mean, Bradford did go down swinging a little bit, but it was just a case of their goal line D, which wasn't quite enough to stop the points leaking, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you could tell that Cass wanted it as well. They knew, they had to find a result from somewhere, like Tom said. And obviously they put the graft in and got it. So he's, it's fair play to them.
Yeah, it certainly is, mate. So fair play to Cass there. Like I said earlier, they come away with a 40 points to 28 victory over the Bradford Bulls. Friday night there was two games. We'll get this one out of the way because I don't want you two getting too upset for the rest of the pod. I'll let you boys have the first discussion. I mean, we spoke off air, didn't we, Gaz? And we mentioned that soon as young George Delaney, dropped that ball from the kickoff, pretty much it set the tone, mate. Is that the way you saw it, or was the parts of the game where you sort of hoped Saints could get back into it?
Yeah, it's pretty much where me and Tom watched it the same night together, and we both said, "Oh, that's going to be a nightmare now." But it gave KR the field position, and it allowed them to smother us. This is the best way I can describe it. They just didn't give us an inch in that game. We had the odd moment where young Noah made a break and got the ball away to Dagnall and the other try, but other than that, we didn't look like threatening at all.
No,
I mean,
I'll back that.
What do you make of that top result, Tom?
I think obviously I said the Gaz. Obviously we've spoke about the Delaney incident. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Anybody can do that. But our right edge was very exploited, and you have to give credit to KR that they found that place to exploit, and they did it over and over again, and they got results from it.
Yeah, they came with a game plan and executed it.
Yeah, that's it. I think me being a Rovers fan, obviously, sometimes you try not to put your biased hat on, don't you? And leading up to the game, I'm thinking, it's going to be a close game. This Saints are firing in all cylinders, but we always know with Saints there's a good chance to contain up and produce a performance, more often than not. And I just thought with it being our first home game, Rovers was due a decent performance. There's a few players that have been under par, so to speak, since they've got back from Vegas. I just thought, all in all, all them little circumstantial things sort of went Rovers' way. And, like you say, from the off, dropping that ball, and then the crowd was behind the home team. And there's one thing I wanted to touch on, fellas. Now, I don't want to come on here and start, bagging players and all the rest of it. But from an outsider looking in, I don't know if, obviously, the game was probably gone by then, but did you guys see one of the tries when Bear just went in tight to the touchline, and Sailor tried reading the play, and I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
I don't know what, I can't explain it. So, I mean, you guys obviously saw it. What was your take on that?
I think he saw Robertson trying to close him down and going, right, I'll get inside and stop the offload. But I think it was just a lack of communication between the two of them, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, as well, Tom, it's not like Sailor's not quick, is it?
No, I get why he's done it. There was two men on the inside, and he's tried to stop that inside ball coming, and he's backed Robertson to obviously catch him, but it was never happening. He should have. To be fair, whether he went for him or not, the try was coming, so he should have just went and made a tackle.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, Robertson sort of comes inside a little bit as well, which obviously opens the gap for Burgess to walk it in. But again, like I said, I think this is a lack of communication. He should have said, like, Robbo, you go and get him, I'll get inside. And I don't think that communication was there.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I just saw it when I got back from the game on Friday night, and you're always taught at you to go and close the ball down. And if you get beat on the inside, the ball's always the number one priority. And the man with the ball, especially that close to the line, I think he's obviously made a calculated guess, and he's just made to look foolish in the end. I mean, a lot of players that have probably done that in the past. It was just something that sort of stood out, and I thought, yeah, it don't look great. That, I mean, is it? we'll talk about Rovers a bit more in a second, fellas. But from your point of view, Tom, was there many positives you could take from that game apart from the odd nowhere sort of bursting through the line, etc.? Was there any other player that stood out or sort of had a dig for you guys?
I would say that obviously he had a shocker, but Dagnall, he didn't shy away. Do you know what I mean? It'd been easy for him to go and hide and say, "No, I don't want anything to do with the ball because I've had a shocker." But he kept turning up, and he kept making mistakes, but he kept trying. So
Yeah.
I've got to give credit to him. I mean, Clark looked obviously lively as he always does when he came on. I think there's that many injuries going on at the minute. It's not just us; it's at every club. Is that communication and that trust isn't there? When you play with someone week in, week out, and you know that person on your outside or your inside, that you've got trust for them, that if you miss a tackle or miss a pass, then they're gonna sort of back you up and be there. I just don't think that's there at the minute. We're just having to put a squad together that can be put on the field.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, Thomas, about Saints. Do you think it's at the moment, like, because obviously, like you say, it's not just yourself; it's a lot of clubs. To be fair, I've noticed, with Saints, probably more than most teams. To be fair, have struggled with injuries and stuff. But like, do you find it hard that you're trying to get results and get the momentum going? Yet it's like you don't know who's kind of playing and what link plays, what partnerships you've got going into games. Because, like I say, some squads are quite random out there when they've been put out.
I think it's obviously a case of as well. And like I say, I'm not going to just say it's for Saints either. There's one thing that you have, like your injuries, but the long injuries, the 3-4 months. They're not just short stints where you're out for maybe 2-3 weeks and you can just come back in. These blokes have got to go through all the rehab and have the surgeries that they might need, and then they need to get back up the game pace. And it's been out for 3-4 months, but then it's going to take them another month and a half just to get back up the pace.
Yeah, match fitness.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
I don't get that.
Like you say, I think it's one of them. Saints probably didn't play to their best, and Rovers got off to a strong start and sort of just carried on that momentum throughout the game. I mean, Mikey Lewis, we'll just touch on him briefly because obviously he's probably Rovers' main man. Him and Tyrone May doing their things again. I mean, they've had a bit of criticism from the fan base internally at last 3 or 4 weeks. They come to the fore in the first home game. And like you say, as soon as you'll give them guys a bit of space to manoeuvre in, I mean, it's pretty much lights out, Jordan. And that's not just for Saints, that's for a number, whoever they're playing against pretty much. If Mikey's not doing it, Tyrone normally does it and vice versa. We all know that Rovers are your second team, mate. I mean, was it one of the... We all predicted a close game. In the end, it wasn't a close game, mate. What did you make of it? And, did anybody else stand out apart from the people we've discussed?
No, I think it was just like what I touched on with Thomas. I think, like I say, I'm not taking away from Rovers at all because they were really good. But I think when you look at, like say, Saints are they are hitting the peaks of what we're used to seeing Saints. I don't think we've seen Saints at the best yet. I think they've still got some bodies to come back. I think they've still got some trying to find the formation of how they want to play, sort of thing. I know Hastings is kind of taking reins, sort of thing, but they're still. You can look at it from our point of view. I can see Saints are still building. They still need something. Do you know what I mean? And I think when you go into a game with Rovers, who obviously Rovers and Leeds have kind of been on them heights, and we've been knocked down a peg. So have you, Carl. I think when you go into that game, it's I think it's more. I think if Saints were fully fit, I think it's a different game because, like I say, I backed a golden point. I think I just said I didn't know who would win, but I thought it was going to be a closer game than that. Obviously, I don't think anyone expects that result. But yeah, it's one of those. Saints will bounce back 100%. You know, like I say, I don't think they're at the best yet, and I think when they do hit the best, I think teams will, you know, they'll have to worry. I think because they'll come with a storm.
Yeah, I mean, Gaz and Tom, sorry, they'll probably tell me better than most that, you know, it's probably a good time that rival rounds is coming, you know, because, you know, derby games, the form book goes out the window. Everybody's revved up for that, you know, Good Friday on the sauce. There's always a great atmosphere, isn't there? And sometimes it's going to, you know, you just need that one result to go your way to sort of get back on the horse, so to speak. Now, I'm not trying to be all dumb and gloom about Saints because they've picked up quite a few wins without playing that great, Gaz's. I think we've discussed that in previous podcasts, but ultimately, Paul Rowley's come out and said it's not good enough. Moving forward, mate, how do you see the Good Friday derby going, and is it the perfect game to get back on the horse, so to speak?
I've just got one more thing with the Kia game. I mean, I've seen people, you know, almost slating Hastings saying his kicking was poor, but when the defence is on top of you, like there was with KR, you're forced into these poor kicks. You just need to get the ball away somehow. You know what I mean? He didn't get time to put his delicate kicks in or his accurate kicks in. So that's just my opinion. But yeah, as far as Friday goes, I mean, imagine Soft Lad in the comments here is going to have a lot to say about it. But yeah, well, it's one of them games, isn't it? You know what I mean? They're missing Field, French, and Waddle, which are obviously 3 key players for them. So, you know, if Huddersfield can beat them, so can we, is all I'm going to say.
It's his thing though, Carl, as well. But what Gaz was saying about Hastings, that's what happened with Connor against Hull FC. You know, we know how quality Connor is, we know how quality Hastings is. There's no, you know, debate in that. But like you say, I think they get pushed in them positions. You know, Saints were outplayed by Rovers, Leeds were outplayed by FC, and I think when you're in them positions, your key players, you know, they're only human, and end of the day, like you can get taken away from ball, and you know what I mean. Even Connor, obviously, we'll go into it on my game, but Connor struggled this week as well, in my opinion. So it's one of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a good shot as well. That Sean, that's a really good shot. They're going to want to play for him now even more.
But touching on what you're saying, guys, it's easy when your team's rolling down the field like KR were. It's easy putting them kicks in. When you're doing it on the back foot of it,
when you're on the back foot, you've got no chance.
When you're kicking from your own 30, it's hard.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, and again, it's credits to defence, like I keep saying.
Yeah, and it's a good point that you make, that, fellas, because I've said now for the last 2 or 3 seasons in terms of Rovers, when Rovers are at home with that crowd behind them, with that hostile atmosphere, they're an absolute different animal. And we've said that multiple times on the pod over the last 6 months. That, you know, and this isn't me by being arrogant. You know, the progression under Willie Peters has brought that to the fore, and you see that now, especially on Friday, the first home game. Everybody's up for it back at home, and it's like having an 18th man on the field. And sometimes that just happens when you go to a game and somebody will drop a ball early, and all of a sudden you think the world's against you. And that was the sort of thing I sort of taken out from the game with Saints. They got off to a poor start and they just really couldn't really recover. But what was interesting for me, Tom, is that obviously you guys lost and then Wigan lost. And I mean, I ain't got no stats in front of me or anything like that, Tom. But off the top of my head, I don't know when that last time sort of happened. And how do you see that Good Friday derby playing out because of that? Because both teams are going to want to put on a display, aren't they?
I mean, I don't know, because I'll always back Saints because they're my team, and it always seems when it comes Good Friday time that apart from that period when we had Coot, that when they come to us, they don't really seem to get the win, and then when we go there, we don't really seem to get it because, like you were saying before, the form book goes out the window. I don't see Saints being as poor as they were last week. But I mean, I think it's the flip of a coin.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I think, Carlo, just to touch up right quick, I think when you look at Leeds, Saints, Rovers, you know, when you talk about the Vegas, basically you kind of did to Saints what, the sort of scoreline that Rhinos did with you. And then, obviously, Leeds then got beat by Hull FC. It's a random season for me. Like, Wigan losing to Huddersfield, I don't think you can call it. Like, I think Rovers have been struggling from, obviously winning all trophies, etc. Vegas struggling in games. Leeds started then struggling. Saints are struggling a little bit. I don't think... I don't know, like I say, correct me if I'm wrong, I just don't think the teams are playing top right now. I think all the top teams are playing to the best, and I think it's showing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and also I think.
Go on, Carl.
I'm sorry, mate. No, go on, Paul.
No, but just to touch on what Jordan's saying there. I mean, when you look at obviously Hull KR's obviously like just starting to come into that talk. Obviously, the one last year, but obviously they've been building, and then that was the fruits of it. But you've got your Leeds, your Saints, your Wigans. Obviously, when we had our periods of successes, you just had to. They just got through games and won games, and then it was back end of the season when they start playing their best rugby. So I think that as well. I think the teams that we don't expect to be doing as well, when they have their best games and the top teams don't show up, now they're getting punished. Whereas in the past,
stung out there. Yeah. I agree.
There's that old saying, fellas, isn't there, that now it's one after the early rounds, is it? So as long as you're there or thereabouts, sort of. As long as you're there or thereabouts halfway through the season, approaching the back end, you normally got a good chance of.
Hang on.
Like
Teenage word. Difference is we got beat by a treble winning side. You got beat by wooden spoon contenders. I'd keep quiet.
We'll get onto that guy. We'll get onto that result in a minute because I made a prediction last week and everybody laughed at me, and in the end it ended up becoming true, didn't it?
I forgot about that.
We'll touch on that in a minute. So yeah. Like I say, okay, I got a 52 points to 10 win over St Helens, and deservedly so in the end. The other game on Friday night, York Knights 14, Wakefield 26. We won't go into this too much, Gaz. Wakefield are on a little bit of a roll so far, mate, out the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, and I thought, I thought York would have given more of a game being at home, but yeah, like we've been saying for the last few weeks, like once Wakefield start clicking, they're going to do some damage, and they're starting to now.
Yeah, I know. When I saw bits of the game, I know York had a bit of their spine players missing, so that probably did a little bit of damage in terms of the squad capabilities. So we've said it before, haven't we? That sometimes with the newly promoted teams,
he's talking numbers down here.
2 or 3 injuries.
The only number that matters is 75. That's all I'm going to say.
So yeah, I mean, did you see any of that game, Tom? And did you? Was it pretty much a routine for Wakefield? Do you think?
I didn't watch it. And to be fair, I backed York in my predictor. So, but I mean, like you have said, you know what I mean. And that performance has been coming from Wakefield because they were a good team last year, and they've added to that squad. So it wouldn't surprise me seeing them back in the top 6 again. The way that they've built, and I've obviously listened to like a few of them speak, especially Max Jowett speaking and saying that season they had that was horrible for them, where they could only get 2 wins or something. To go down to the championship actually built the confidence for the lads. So I think we are seeing the fruits of. We all look at it sometimes of you've gone down, or like how have you gone down? But they've obviously took that as the positive. And they've built something.
I think that's the way to do it. Sometimes going down is the best thing for you. But what I would say about Wakefield is the tenders of last year on their patch. I mean, the no mugs. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Jordan, as you saw the other week when they played and beat the Rhinos. So that pretty much concludes Friday night games. On to Saturday, there's 2 games: Wigan versus Huddersfield and Leeds versus Toulouse. Last week, I said that a bit tongue-in-cheek type of comment that Huddersfield would get the first win over the Wigan Warriors. Never in my wildest imagination would I think that was going to become true. But credit to the Giants, they took it to Wigan. They didn't just sit back and up for a couple of counter-attacking plays or anything like that. They literally They went straight at them, straight for the middle of them. And I think Matty P was quite upset because normally his sides are regarded as a tough defensive side and where people don't roll them. Huddersfield literally got straight over the top of them and played some good rugby in the process of that. I mean, Clone was back, Niall Evans was back, Wolford was back at hooker for Huddersfield Giants. So, yes, there was helped with some people coming back from injury, Jordan, but I don't think anybody saw that result coming, mate, did they?
No, certainly not. But, I want to touch up on what Robinson said. I know you guys probably will have read up on it, and I feel sorry for him a little bit because he said that when he got sacked, that he felt a little bit disheartened considering that he didn't have his full team and there were people still coming back from injuries. And then look what happened. He got his players back, and obviously he got the sack. So, and look what happened with game. So it's one of those when you've got a team like Huddersfield that are struggling, and they know they're struggling, and they've got no, their backs against the wall, if you want to say. They've got no other way than just to, try the best. And like I say, having the players back, it'll give them that boost. And I think like Tom was saying, I think these big teams, when they're not at the best, like say Huddersfield, we've been saying it for weeks, haven't we? That a win needs to come somewhere. I mean, nobody would have said it was going to be Wigan, but it's happened, and it's what's that 1?
Apart from me,
Yeah.
Just on the flip side of that, though, Gaz. I mean, clearly Huddersfield was the better side and that deserved to win it for the amount of points they put on the Warriors. But we always, same as yourself, St Helens and Wigan, we always sort of, if them teams get injuries, there's always somebody from the academy to step up. I mean, you touched on it earlier, the missing Field and French and Wardle and a few key players. But is it just a case of Wigan, didn't turn up, or do we have to, give all the credit to the Giants?
I would give all the credit to the Giants because, end of the day, regardless of who's missing, it's still bottom beaten, which is unheard of. I mean, so they've achieved something there, and to get your first win against top of the pile, it's a massive confidence boost for them now. Hopefully,
yeah. I mean, you like I said earlier, you hope that from a Giants point of view, they can go and win at the Wigan Warriors. Sorry, but. So do that on their own patch at Wigan's place at the Brit community, Thomas. It's you can't underestimate it, can you, mate?
No, you can't. And like to touch on what you said, obviously with the academies that obviously the top 3 have, that we always have someone ready to step in. There's a reason why they're at that academy, because they're believed to be one of the best of the best. So, I mean, you've just got to give credit to Huddersfield that they've got some players back. And they've went and got the result. And I'm sure obviously Matty Pete will be right at the Warriors this week, having a right dig at them. Because when you're in that position, and I think a lot of the headlines have been that obviously Wigan were like doing so well, everyone should be fearing like this Wigan Warriors side.
Yeah.
It's proven over seasons that not so much we'd feel, but once French is out that side, that they're not the same team anymore.
No,
I think thing as well. Right quick, Carl. Big right thing as well, Carl. Just right quick is obviously no disrespect to Huddersfield, but because obviously Huddersfield have been, poor, you want to take advantage of it, don't you? And if you're Wigan, you want to put 50 odd points past them, don't you? You don't want to be that team that loses and kind of be the laughing stock, if you want to say. But yeah, full credit to Huddersfield.
Go on, guys. What are you going to say, mate?
I forgot now.
Sorry, guys.
I do that a lot. Oh, that was it. Yeah, I think it's a bit harsh that they're all. I mean, I can't stand him myself, but the fact that these like it says down here, Wigan fans are now turning on Liam Farrell. When he's dragged them through so much and won them so many trophies and all that, and they're doing this to him now. I think it's absolutely vile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to stir the pot a bit more, mate. They clearly have got very short memories, haven't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
I mean, just closing out that result, fellas. I mean, I don't know too many Huddersfield fans, but a kid I don't know. I want to give a shout out for because Joel Scholes, he's absolutely been for the ringer this last season or so with Huddersfield Giants. So fair play, mate, and you deserve your win. So so credit to all him and obviously the rest of the Giants fan base. The other result on Saturday: Leeds 21, Toulouse Olympique 20. I mean, Lee raced off into a bit of a lead. Toulouse once sort of at it first half, and then there was like a bit of a mini fight back in the second half. In the end, Jordan, Gaz O'Brien does what he does, drops a goal and sort of wins the game from mate. But I know you've tipped Lee for big things this season so far, mate, but literally scraping by again. I think there was something like a 16-point lead at one point. You shouldn't be letting them slide, mate, should you? Especially if you want to challenge at back end of the year.
Yeah, no. I think the thing is, I think, like I say, I think we all forget, like, we've got to give credit to these teams, like Huddersfield with Wigan, Toulouse, Bradford, York. They are really trying this year, and you can't fault them. And I think, like Thomas was saying, which is probably the perfect thing to say for tonight or for this week to describe the results, is if you're not at your best, these top teams are at your best, these other teams are going to sting you, because Toulouse don't want to be wooden spooners. Neither do Bradford, neither do York. And they turn up every week, and whether they lose or they win, they play their hearts out. And I think that's a credit to Toulouse to come back. I think it's one of those games where it's Lee's team game to lose, obviously. We've been 16 points up. But yeah, it's a great spectacle for rugby. No, do you know what I mean? We've waited years for stuff like this, and when you go into a game and you can't really call the results, I don't think we've called out results right for a while now. There's always been some sort of crazy result in there. But yeah, obviously I was wrong, weren't I, Willie? They're obviously going to be okay, but maybe not as good as I was saying.
Yeah, it's a credit to him. I mean, I said the other week about Ashel Bott coming out the back fullback for Toulouse. He seems to give them a lot of pace in their attacking line, and they've obviously got some hard-working forwards within that pack as well. So they're certainly going to be competing for the majority of the season. Yeah, so credit to them. Sunday's games: Hull versus Catalan and Leeds versus Warrington. I mean, I don't know if you saw any of the Hull-Catalan game, Gaz. Very similar to the league game. Hull raced into a bit of an early lead. Catalan was absolutely disgusting the first half. And that's not me trying to get a dig at the black and whites because I'm a Rovers supporter. But I just say what I saw. They raced into a lead. The Dragons knocked on multiple times, 10, 20 metres out from their own line, and literally just forced Hull FC upon themselves. I mean, I think we said last week, that we back, all three of us back the Dragons. It wasn't to be in the end, mate. They came up short.
Yeah, it's again another game of two halves. There's been a lot of them this season. Like we touched on Toulouse, making the comeback against the league. They did the same to us the week before, and like Catalan done the same thing though. It's making it a bit more interesting than a team running away with the game or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a few weeks ago St. Helens played the Dragons, and then, like I say, Tom, Catalan stuck one on us last week, and going from beating the champions to getting beat by Hull FC in that manner, I know Joel Tompkins wasn't there. I think he was ill or something, but I bet he's thinking, what the bloody hell's going on with this? Because one week we're brilliant and next week we're terrible.
Yeah, I think it's one of them. It's Catalan is one of them teams that they've never really travelled well. When you go over to Catalan and they had that crowd and it's a hostile environment. It's a bit like KR. It's a hard place to go and get that win. But obviously, like Jordan said, I think it's a lot better this season when you're not going to games and thinking, all right, well, I know that this is like a sure-on win. And like Gaz said, it's a bit like deja vu. Toulouse did that to us the other week. Is it a case of that? Because in previous years, when you go 20 points to 4 up, that you just think to yourself, right, this game, it's done and buried. And these teams are coming out in the second half and just going, no, do you know what? Right, it's not done. We're going to have a go. And once you take your foot off the gas and lose that bit of momentum that you've had, it's very difficult to get it back.
Yeah,
I agree.
Just touch on what
Right, mate.
Sean's asking there. Are we seeing promoted teams at a level now? I don't know, because I mean, they didn't get the wins this week, but they're never out of a game. They're always like in it till the end. You know, they've always still got a chance, like no matter what minute it is. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I hope not. 'Cause I want to see more teams competing for the top 6.
I mean, I go off that game where Hull FC, you know, where they beat York. Can't remember what round it was. Was it round 2 or round 3 or something?
Early doors, wasn't it?
Yeah, and York just, you know, they just kept battling, and you know they lost the game, but you know they competed, and you know what I mean. To answer that question, I think they are kind of getting to that point. Yeah, I think it's getting quite close. Where, like I say, you can't call some games.
I think for me, answering the same question as you guys, obviously Sean's asking. Sean's a friend of mine anyway, but answering that question, Sean, for me, it's like we're only round 6 still. If in round 12, 13 they fall away, I think that the proof will be in the pudding if their squads can cope within 6 games time. Because, like you say, there's been quite a few injuries so far. I mean, if these injuries carries on, them three promoted teams will suffer more than most. So I'm pretty sure that in 6 games time you'll get an honest reflection of that question you've just asked. So I mean that's my honest opinion on that. I mean, what do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I think it's right that these teams that have come up, the starting sides are very strong, but have they got the depth? And I think that's where a lot of teams in the league struggle. That
They lacking in the depth as well.
They don't have that academy coming through that's ready, and the old saying goes that, like, if they're old enough, they're ready. At some point, you've got to give them a chance and put them in, and you'll find out where their level is. If they go and make a mistake, that if in a big game, will they just bounce back and go again?
Yeah, time will tell, that is for sure. Closing out round 6, 30 years of Super League, the exact fixture 30 years ago. Jordan's beloved Leeds Rhinos, they beat the Warrington Wolves 26 points to 22. I mean, Jordan, you was all negative Nigel last week on the pod saying you didn't think they'd win them. Again, I'm going to prove you wrong and say I think... yeah, he did in the group, you're right, yeah. So I'm going to say, mate, I told you so. I mean, I know you was quite critical of certain players within the Rhinos squad last week, mate. Just give us your opinion on how you think the game went, and did they deserve the win in the end?
As a full 80 minutes, no, I thought Warrington were better. Through the full 80 minutes, I think Rhinos had stints. It went very yo-yo in the second half, where it could have gone either way, I think. But for me, the first half got me so frustrated because I could see. I mean, obviously, I know you guys were saying, "Oh, calm down, whatever." But for me, it was like from watching the Hull FC game, I was seeing the final third and all that stuff, and they weren't quite there, and it was just like it looked like a reincarnation of last week. Like Croft weren't playing great in that first half. Croft's kicks were shocking. I think they were literally about a metre kicks, and they were picking him up. Connor weren't great with his kicks. During play, it were okay. I wouldn't say it were fantastic, but it was okay. But I think both the kicking games in first half were abysmal. There were no one standing out for me in that first half, and I had that feeling where, like I say, I'll be honest, completely honest, I thought it was going to be like a Rovers and Saints game. I literally thought we were going to get hammered. And we managed to come back. I don't understand how. I know Ewing did a couple of mistakes, kicked out on full. I think he gave a penalty away for trying to, as Barry McDermott said, which I won't say on here, which you probably will get done for saying, but tried to tackle Sivo, and fair play to young lad. I think we can all agree that fair play to him for going for it. But yeah, I don't know. I can't even say what it was. I think it was literally a flip a coin. I don't think Leeds deserved the win as such of like, yeah, we played really good, blah, blah, blah. We deserved it. I think it could have gone the other way. I think Warrington could have, if they scored another try, it would have been completely different. And it were a very tough, grindy result. But that said, it is a game where you expect that. Leeds and Warrington should be a tough game. Saints and Hull Rovers should be a tough game. You know what I mean? It's a grindy game, and it kind of should have happened what it did, really. But yeah, I weren't overconfident in that game at any point.
Just on the flip side there, Jordan, I mean, you can see it both ways, Gaz, can't you? That, Rano's got off to a sloppy first half, but I see that as they dug in and they stayed within the game to be able to come back in the second half. And I think that shows a lot of character, doesn't it? Yeah,
they went behind 12 points, and then obviously Sivo got himself over the line a couple of times. Yeah, they didn't give up. They kept fighting, and once they got ahead in towards the last quarter of the game, they just didn't look like going behind again.
No, they didn't. I mean, what did you make of Warrington's performance, Tom? And was it again, was it there to be had? And should they have finished the Ranos off in the first half?
I think when the chances are there to sort of go for the throat when you're 12-0 up, sort of like a team that you're meant to be competing with. If you have aspirations to be there to win the big trophies, you have to kill that game off. But to back up what you have said, you know what I mean? For Leeds to obviously find a way to hang in and then wrestle it back and obviously get themselves ahead and then never look like losing it once they were ahead, that's got to be a positive for them.
Yeah, I mean, credit to the Rhinos. They got the job done in the end. I mean, I'm going to say something that might annoy Jordan a little bit here, but we'll go for it. It was a good win, mate. Do you know why?
Why?
Because I saw Brad Arthur smiling at least twice in one game. So if he's smiling on a cold, wet, windy day in the South Yorkshire, mate, there's something going down very well. So credit to you, mate.
He's saying, thing is with Brad Arthur, he says kind of what I say, which is the reason why I like him. Like, if we lose that game, which like I've just said, it was kind of a 50-50 really, in my opinion, towards the end. He said if they lose and they play well, then he can't say out, which is exactly what I would have said. I would have said if Warrington would have won that game, I'd have said, it was a tough, grindy game. Probably the best team won, really, but it would a close game. But like I were thinking, if you're a Warrington fan, you probably would have been gutted with that because I think for best parts of that game,
they used to be, aren't they?
For best parts of that game, I thought they were better. What's that?
They used to it.
Used to be.
Yeah, it's a fun. The thing is, with top coaches like Brad Arthur, mate, and Saints have had them down the years. They very rarely get things wrong. So yesterday he pulled Harry Newman out the squad, didn't he, and started Jack Baird. Now I know the last couple of weeks you've sort of been a bit and ahhing about the new signing Jack Baird, but I think he replaced Newman, mate. Scored a try, defensive masterclass, put an absolute session in terms of working hard and making tackles. He's got that decision right ultimately, hasn't he? And that's what you need from top coaches. When they make a decision, it has to be the right one.
Well, I don't think he played fantastic, mate, all game. I think he had a good 40 minutes in second half. I thought he did make some errors, and I think fair play to that lad. I think he was trying to find his way into the game, which obviously sometimes that happens. It was very unorthodox, in my opinion. I didn't really see him as a centre, but I didn't really see him where he'd play. But he ran like a forward for me. So he, obviously, I think when you replace him for Newman, it was obviously completely different. His is quite nippy on his feet as Newman, and I think when you look at it like that, we probably missed that side of the game, not having Newman in. But it's just that question, which obviously I'm going to speak about in a few weeks' time, is either replacement for Newman, or do Leeds go out and get another centre? That's obviously a question that most Rhinos fans will be answering. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether I see him as a starter. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, ultimately, mate, yesterday in that game, he got the decision right and he scored a try and contributed towards a win. So you can only judge on him, judge on him what he's done so far. That pretty much wraps up round 6 results. Gaz, on to Bad Lads Corner, mate.
Yep, Bad Lads. So start with Cash Tigers. We've got Jordan Lane, grade A, late contact on passer, 1 penalty point. A name I'm going to butcher again here now. Phoenix Steinway.
Another French one.
There's always one, isn't there? Grade A, late contact on passer, 1 penalty point, no further action. Our man, Dave Clemmer, grade B, late contact on passer, 3 penalty points and a fine. A man who seems to be creeping up in here quite a lot now, Jazz Tivaga. He's up here twice, both for a grade A late contact on passer. He's ended up onto 2 penalty points with no further action. Josh Griffin, grade B, dangerous contact, 3 penalty points and a fine. Jack Martin, same offence, same outcome. Jesse D, grade A late contact on passer, 1 penalty point, no further action. And your man there, we've just been discussing, Jack Bird, grade B head contact, 3 penalty points and a fine.
Yeah, it was
a short one this week for once. It's normally about 28 people on there.
Yeah, it is.
Well, like we say every week, the kitty must be at a reasonable amount. Yeah, that's it. I mean, hey, listen, lads, we tick the boxes, don't we? So we can only read out what's been given. That's Bad Lads Corner. Jordan, onto your team of the week. Yeah, there's some decent lackers in there.
Right.
That's for
sure.
I
was like, what is he on about here? Wake up when Gaz is talking, wake me up when he's done. Like, no one's forced you to be here.
Wake me up before you go.
At least I'm still talking like them. Like they've all gone quiet. They've done the wiggy walk earlier than usual.
They've been sent for a pie, mate. That's for sure. Jordan, your team of the week, mate. Who was your first pick and why? Who stood out?
Mikey.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
Yeah, Mikey. I thought he played that game really well. I thought he were back at his best or at some sort of form of what you expect. Obviously, very quickly behind with Jez Litton. I think them two obviously are just ridiculous when Rovers are playing well. But yeah, for me, Mikey Lewis was my first pick.
Litton, he's the best looker in Super League, and it's not even close.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is there any players in that 13, Tom, that you'll disagree or you'd change for anybody else, mate?
No, and just to say, like, back up what Gaza said, I'm shocked that there's no NRL club sniffing round Jez Litton.
Yeah, non-officially.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the
that they're
We'll
in
get
North.
onto it in news round in a minute, but I'm pretty sure there'll be some definitely talks, if not movements, in the next season or so. So fair play to you with your 13, Jordan. It's pretty strong, that team. I mean, there's a couple of you could change there, but that's selective from people's different opinions.
What's that? Also, Civil with 12 tries. No what?
Yeah, it's,
no rounds in 6 rounds. Yeah, just quickly before we move on, just answer that question. Yeah, I think Sivo, obviously, I think is fair to say he's been instrumental for Leeds. You know, I think without him scoring, like I've said previous weeks, I worry about where the tries come from, and it's quite scary when he's scoring hat-tricks most weeks. You know, and then Leeds are winning games. It's like, yeah, well, what if he ain't playing? Where do these tries come from? Because obviously Ryan Hall, you know, at 38-year-old, you can't expect him to be doing them tries. But apart from Vegas, I can't remember him scoring any tries. So it's like on that wing, they tend to go down Sivo's edge now, don't they? And they've found that it works. So it's like that. You know, Saints have had it many years. Wigan have done it many years. You know, you utilise them edges, don't you? And you give it to the person who you know can do the job. And I think it's fair play that we've found that guy that can do it. So fair play to him.
No, that's it. You're not going to change from something that works week in, week out, are you? So,
yeah, no.
I'm pretty sure you found your strength and stick to it. Yeah, so that's your 13 this week in terms of your team, Jordan. On to news round, Gaz.
It's like I'm the editor at the same time. I feel like I'm Joe Rogan and his little bitch in the booth at the same time. I've got the ball in for it.
Team here, you know. We're all a team. In terms of news round, then there ain't actually that much to report about, but what there is to report about are massive stories that have come out in the last 3 or 4 days. None so more than my beloved Hull Kingston Rovers coach Willie Peters. The club and himself have announced that he is set to leave at the end of the season, taking up the head coach role of the newly formed P&G Chiefs in the NRL. That is for the 2028 season. So I can only assume that after this season, he'll be going away and working to build the club on and off the field and recruiting for the following year, because obviously anybody that follows the NRL knows the Perth Bears will be in 27 and then the P&G Chiefs will be in 28. So, yeah, I'm absolutely gutted. But as we all know, you know, anybody who knows anything about rugby league or Super League, that any successful coach within the game in England normally goes back and gets a head coach's gig in the NRL. It's no different. Jordan, we say it every week, Rovers are your second teammate. Are you gutted?
Yeah, I'm gutted. I'm gutted for Rovers, because I think, like you say, you hit nail on the head there about, you know, people moving on, etc. I think it's a bit sour taste, isn't it, when you've just won all the trophies and then all of a sudden doors open and he's gone. I mean, you know, there's no we can do with Rovers realistically now that he hasn't done already. I mean, they can win it again, obviously, but, you know, first time's always the best, isn't it? And it's one of those, you know, Rhino's had it with numerous coaches, you know, with our success. You don't want to see them go because you're then worried where it's going to take your team. You know, it's like in football, you have it with football, don't you? I think when Liverpool lost Klopp, you know, and then it's like, oh, will Liverpool ever be the same team again? And then, you know, they get that manager in. So it's one of those. It's like that in any sport. I think you get comfortable with who you've got. You know the system works. You know the coach knows the players so well, and you are stubborn and you are a bit worried because you don't want someone coming in and kind of stepping on toes and ruining what's worked, because, you know, this is a thing. I think we spoke about it, Carl. Someone's got to come in and respect what Rose have achieved, and they've got to, like you said before, they've got to take into that culture. They've got to bring that into the team. And for me, the coach realistically has got an easy job because they don't need to change much in the terms of, you know, it's like with Rhinos back in the day. you know, we've had it before where some coaches have come out and said about Leeds that they didn't need coaching because they had Sinfield, Maguire, Peacock. You know, they used to just go out and play, and we had like 5 captains on pitch, and they never needed coaching because they all knew what they were doing. And that's similar to what Rovers are now. I think they've got that formation, that system where the chemistry's there, but someone does need to come in and oversee it and make sure that they don't dip in form. They don't, you know, because I think I've said it. If Rovers dip 1%, is that the door opening for Wigan, Saints, Leeds? Is that 1% going to be where you don't win a trophy this year? Do you know what I mean? It's one of them you don't want to drop, do you?
No, and it's a good point you make. And for me, it's about evolution now. So, like, we've seen it in the past, guys, with ex-Saints coaches. They've come over and won lots of trophies, you know, like Christian Wolf, and then they go back over, don't they, mate? It's unfortunately been the game that we have in this country, mate. It's part of the process for a lot of them Aussie coaches.
Yeah, I mean, Nicola listen, we've got like Sean McRae, Daniel Anderson, Justin Albrook, Christian Wolf. There's going to be more there they've not mentioned. Roy Simmons, you know, they come over to get, you know, they put themselves in the shop window and then obviously, you know, grab them. Yeah, I think they'll be all right. It's like you say, it depends on who comes in. I mean, if someone comes in and tries to change too much, disgruntles everything, it can go really bad very quickly. But like I say, it just depends on who they bring in. And they've done the right thing by doing it now, where they've got plenty of time to find the replacement.
But this is thing, Carl. I'm sure you'll agree as well. Like,
yeah, Sean, yeah, you're right there.
Rovers have worked far too hard to get to where they are for it to just crumble. Do you know what I mean? And it has all been built from Willie Peters, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You know, Danny Maguire, Kenny Dowell, they all had their hands in it, didn't they? Do you know what I mean? To get them to where they are.
I think Danny Maguire gets a bit forgotten about because of what Peters has done since he's gone.
Yeah,
no,
he signed
Tony Smith as well, fellas.
Tony Smith,
Tony Smith as well. You know, he could even go back as far as Tim Sheens if you really wanted to put. If we're talking about structures and making the club more professional, etc., you could go back a number of years. Sorry, but Tom, from a Rovers point of view, you know, without thinking any words, I mean, we've been in the gutter for a lot of years, mate, and that's me being honest. So from where we've come from, to where we are now, mate, the club's in a miles better place on and off the field. It's more appealing for a head coach to come in, but there will, whoever comes in will want to put their stamp on the team.
I mean, if anything, the club's stable.
Yeah, I mean, they will want to put, like you say, they will want to put the stamp on it, but then that's down to sort of like the directors and everybody, that you get someone in that's similar in the style that he plays, because that style works for Rovers.
Yeah.
And there's no point coming in and then completely changing it. I mean, when the only thing I can link to is when we had Holbrook and we were such an attacking side, but our defence wasn't there. Then Holbrook, then Wolf come in, and he went, right, no, I know you can attack. We'll leave that.
Yeah.
And he focused on our defence, that we didn't concede many points.
Yeah.
And obviously at the start of this season, like, Rovers have conceded quite a few points. So that might be the route that they go down. You've got the attacking flair, that someone then comes in and just adds a bit of defensive grit to them.
Yeah, it's a good point you make, mate. There's always going to be, that ethos and that belief at the club in how they want to play. And that's the same for every single club within the Super League. I mean, just before I move on to the next piece of news, I mean, he's made me and many of the fans being taken from dreaming, to actual reality. So he will go with my best wishes, and I'm pretty sure Willie Peters will go with the best wishes of most people within the organisation. So, yeah, we really appreciate what he's done for the club, because nobody else has ever done that in the 42 years on the planet I've been on it. Second piece of news, fellas, and this is a massive, massive statement for the Super League in general. Wakefield signed Kiwi and Samoan international RTS Roger Tuivasa Czech. They have signed him on a 2-year deal of Wakefield as of next season. I know he played quite a bit of rugby league at the Warriors with Jazz Tavanga, who was in Bad Lads a minute ago with Gaz. So, as I call him, Agent Jazz, I'm pretty sure he's got him over to the Super League. But Jazz, he's, regardless of his age, mate, he is one talented player and he's going to be an absolute asset to the Super League.
Yeah, and I'll describe it in 2 words: statement signing. That's Wakefield saying, listen, we belong in where we are now and we want to go further.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, Jordan, I mean, I would never, ever go and watch another team, right? Apart from it being Magic Weekend, if you're there before or after your game. But Roger Czech has been one of my all-time great players, especially Kiwi players. If he was to say, I would go and watch Wakefield and pay to watch Wakefield if he's playing in that team. So I mean, what a signing, mate. I mean, you'd have him at Rano's, surely.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, like I say, it's one of those signings where it's very much like Kenny Dowell, Andrew Johns, Stacey Jones when he went to Catalans when they first started. Craig Fitzgibbon went to Hull FC. There's so many stars that have come to Super League, and obviously he is part of that mould. It's going to make it exciting, and a lot of eyes are going to be on Wakefield now. And how amazing would it be if Wakefield got to play in Vegas with him playing? That would be quite good for Wakefield. Get more eyes on them, and it's one of those as well where I don't know how they've managed to afford it. I don't know if players are going to end up having to get bused to training to fund the wage or whatever. But like Gaz said, it's a statement. It's a statement signing, and maybe not the only one. They've got Johnston, aren't they? I'm presuming he's going to go on the other wing. Or can he play centre?
He might end up playing fullback.
Yeah.
But again, this thing is, one door open, another one closes, and if he plays fullback, I feel sorry for Max Jowett because obviously he's a quality fullback and kicks the ball well as well. So it's going to be interesting, but for sure, it's a massive, massive statement.
It's just an odd one for me, though, Carl. Just an odd one for me. Just before we move on, is obviously he's 32-year-old, which I don't think that matters. But where's that kind of materialised from? Like, where's that? Why have Wakefield managed to get that? Do you know what I mean? Where you'd expect maybe Saints to get that or Warrington even. Where's that kind of come from? Do you think?
We're at our cap now, I think, and think so. Warrington and all the big clubs were like Wakefield. They not really spent money off the really.
Yeah.
So they've got that, and don't forget that's for next season as well. So that'll count onto the next season's salary cap.
Yeah.
Imagine, I think isn't Mason Leno going?
There'll be some room,
maybe.
fellas. It's not like the old days where you used to get the player's wife down on the cleaning team or a member of staff.
Oh, that was buddy
contribute.
Fucking plan that, would he?
Yeah, them days of trying to fiddle the books have certainly gone. I mean, I'm just so excited by the signing, just for the Super League in general. I mean, he's an absolute talented player, regardless of his age, Tom, and it's just going to be exciting to watch week in, week out, mate. Even if you're not a Wakey fan.
Yeah. I mean, I remember watching him at the World Cup, I think in 2013. So he is an amazing player, and I think it's going to grow the brand of Super League. I mean, obviously we have the talks of the takeover and stuff like that. That's only going to help it.
Yeah. I mean, if we can get a few more like that in the next couple of years, mate, our stock's going to rise for sure. Yeah, so fair play
just
to the
before you move on
club.
to the next one, Carl. Can I just get this in before I forget what it's in my head?
Yeah, go on, mate.
Just Tara Jones having a cracking Super League debut as a referee. So she's been getting applauded from the entire rugby league community. So well done to her.
Yeah, and I think, do you know what? Thinking about it and looking back on that game now, Gaz. Obviously, she was in charge of the Wigan Huddersfield game. Now,
yeah, look,
I reckon the
referees in charge of a Wigan game.
Yeah, but what the point I'm trying to make, with that is that the RFL might have given her that game and appointed her that game thinking it'll be a learning sort of easing her into the professional environment as the first female referee. But in hindsight, it ended up being quite a entertaining game with points scored and
there'll be riots at Wigan.
Yeah, so
we don't want
really,
her back.
it's a double credit to her because it could have gone to the point where it got boring, but it hasn't. The game was pretty much quite solid right the way through, and it's a credit to her, mate, because it, like you say, it could have been Wigan 50-0 and it'd have been an easy sort of ref for her, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? So you're right, mate, and she deserves all the plaudits.
And Sean, also, I'd like to think so, mate. I think the more clubs that have gained these big player sides coming in, it's only going to benefit the league as a whole.
Gaz, you'll turn the comments off because I can't see any comments now, mate.
So it was Sean saying, do we see similar signs with what Wakefield were doing when Rovers was a few years ago?
Right,
so
okay.
I like to think so, because the more these smaller clubs are getting the big signings in, it's only going to benefit the league, isn't it?
No, definitely, yes. It's a great.
Just want
to that's for sure.
Before we move on again, Carl, just a right quick one. I just want to take me out off to Ewan Irwin, obviously for Warrington.
Yeah, he had a good showing.
I think he's had a fantastic, month. I'd say, great with boot. I think he's a really good talent, and consider how young he is. Being thrown in deep end sort of thing in halves with Williams. I'm surprised Williams hadn't tripped him over with his nose, but
it's like going back to the Ashes pod we did last year. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, George Williams can smoke a cigarette in the rain and keep it dry.
No fair
you're
play
so
to
horrible,
him.
you two pair of twats. There's me trying to be respectful, and there's you two literally sticking your noses out.
It's all bad, isn't it?
Anyway, let me get through this news round, fellas, and then we can predict the results coming up. Castleford, they've signed a young winger from Warrington, Jake Fullis, on loan for a month just to bolster their squad while they get a few back from injuries. So it pretty much ticks a box on the wing for that. The last piece of news is quite a surprising one. I don't know if you're aware of it, Jordan, but Brad Arthur's come out today and claims he will discuss his future before the 30th of June, saying he's finding it hard living away from his family. Obviously, they're down under in Australia. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. The Manly Sea Eagles job has just come vacant. Seabold got sacked at the weekend, mate. Now, might be reading so much into it, but with him saying that and the vacancies come around, what are your thoughts on that, mate? Would you like to see him stay?
Yeah, of course. I'd want to see him stay. I think it's safe to say from any neutral point of view, what he's done for Leeds and, where he's taken us from not being in playoffs for the last few years. And obviously he's got that fight back in his side that we obviously have struggled with in previous years. But it's one of those, it's been rumoured for so many times now that he probably will go. I'm not expecting him to stay now. He stayed another year. I did think the fact that his son's playing over here now, I would have thought that might have given him another contract maybe, but I'm not going to hold it against him. I think, like I say, he's signed another year, and he's stuck with us. But unfortunately, like I say, same with Willie Peters. The Aussies out there, they're not going to stay forever.
No, that's definitely right for sure. That pretty much concludes the news round, fellas. We'll have a quick look at the rival rounds fixtures.
Yep.
And we'll make some predictions between the four of us.
Got to get predictions in here. Well,
so you're recording them then
and change them.
Yeah. Just before we make them predictions, for anybody that's watching who doesn't know, we have recently set up a WhatsApp community group. Feel free to put all your predictions in there. Also, the latest news, the latest announcements, etc. from the podcast within that WhatsApp group. So if you're interested in getting involved, just click on the bio. Obviously, there's a link in there that'll send you straight to the community page. Good Friday, fellas. There's a small matter of a Hull derby, Wigan Saints derby, and a Leeds Bradford derby. I mean, I'll start.
Carl, I'm going to upset you now.
Oh, not
prediction. No, it's saying that FC are the favourites on this predictor app.
Go on. Who's predicted that?
No, it's 6. You get 6 points if you pick KR to win and they win, or you get 4 points if you pick FC. So FC are technically the favourites on that app, but they do this a lot. They cut this up so many times.
Yeah, I mean, there's no logic in a derby game, but I'm pretty sure if you ask 10 people, 7 of them would say a Rovers win. I mean, what are you going with, Tom? Hull KR or Hull FC?
Got to back Hull FC.
Oh,
God, the bitter sour taste from last Friday.
No, it's just the fact that I don't know. It's like you said, derby games go out the window.
Yeah,
And I think if KR turn up like they did against us, then they win the game. But I don't know. I've got a sneaky feeling that FC might just get another one of them shock results.
Yeah, no, we're entitled. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I mean, Jordan, I always say about Rovers being a different animal at home. I mean, for me, it's just a Rovers win, regardless. How do you see it going, mate?
Yeah. I think Rovers. I think they probably carry on and maybe not do a big scoreline like the Saints game, but I think they'll win maybe by 18 points. I think.
How do you see it, Gaz?
I'm going Rovers for the sake of 6 points on the predictor.
Wise man. Tactical selection.
That's locked in there now. If you can see it, that's
Nice,
locked in.
Nice. One thing I did pick up on Sunday's game, Hull FC and the Dragons. As soon as the second half came about, maybe 10 minutes into the second half, them big boys of Hull FC's pack was really, really blowing out their asses. I mean, if you start blowing out your asses around Mikey Lewis, Jez Litton, Tyrone May, etc., you're in for a long second half.
They'll damage you.
Especially with the ruck speed and the new, rules around that. So yeah, 3-1 in favour of Hull KR. Then a small matter of St Helens versus Wigan. I mean, Jordan, you can start us off, mate. How do you see that going?
I'm going to say Saints.
You did this to me last week, and look what happened.
I'm going to say Saints because I think, like say, Saints aren't in the form that they're obviously expecting to be. And
Tom's first and last appearance.
I don't think. I think we're going to have another bad year, another bad game. I think Saints will bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, just before I asked the two Saints lads, it's quite interesting for me because, like I said earlier on, and we touched on it with Tom, that I don't think there's been so many times where both teams are going into a derby off the back of defeats. I mean, obviously Paul Rowley wasn't happy with their performance on Friday, and neither was Matty P. I'm going to go Saints by a golden point win. I think it'll be close.
No, my heart can't
think it'll be. Gaz's ticker's ticking already.
I was going to say that myself,
Friday now.
But
it's all right, Gaz. We'll get the sheepdog out to him.
Yeah, I just think Rolls will get a reaction out of them. And as good as Wigan have been so far, they're missing the two key components to their squad. And I think if Saints can pull them down in their own backyard, I think they'll edge it. We'll give out the last words.
That's the key thing, being at home, sellout crowd as well. So it's got a lot of it's going to be down to us to get behind them.
Yeah, I think that's always a big part, especially in a derby. I mean, we'll give the last word to Tom on the result, Gaz. But do you see Saints getting the result? And if so, how?
Yes, Tom, you.
No, you, Gaz.
Oh, me. Sorry.
I was going to give the guest the last word. That was all, mate.
All right. I don't know how. I think it's going to have to be. I'm going to be bold here. I'm going to say it's going to be tight all the way through, and something daft, like Ignatius Parsi again, the winning try. Later on,
I might have a fiver on that. See what Sky Bet are offering.
Sky Bet, not worth a toss.
Come on then, Tom. You're the special guest, mate. Saints are your team. They need to bounce back after a slightly humiliating defeat. None better so than beating the Pies. How do you see that going, mate?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tight. I'll take Saints by 2.
Saints by 2. I like it. Full house
Do you
then.
know what, Carl? Your one redeeming quality this week is the fact that you can't stand Wigan.
And hey, do you know, 20 years ago, mate, I never thought that would be the case. It's when you're successful, them teams end up being your rivals, don't they? Do you know, when you're ebbing and flowing over trophies
This is
and
why I
stuff.
can't take Gaz seriously. I'm not the one in the comments talking bollocks about. I'm the one on camera.
Right, Jordan, on to you, mate. The first Bradford Leeds derby in Super League for quite a number of years. Away at Odsal. How do you see that going, mate? And Arano's going to back up a, impressive win against the Wire. They're going to get the job done on Good Friday.
Yeah, I think they will. Yeah, I think they will. I think it'll be an arm wrestle for first 20 minutes. I think Leeds will take game. I think they'll win by maybe 12 points.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's all conditions pending, really, because if they go to Odsal and it's a mud bath, I think it's a bit of a leveller. With all greatest respect for Bradford, they can get their home. They'll be up for the home fans, won't they? First game against Leeds in Super League for a lot of years, like I've just said. I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to go Bradford, just because I still believe Leeds have got a lot of inconsistency within some of their players' games. So, I mean, Gaz, how do you see it going, mate?
I actually think Leeds will run away with it. I generally do. I'm going to say they're going to put 40 points on Bradford.
Well, they did.
Yeah, well,
they did, didn't they? In with Cam Smith's testimonial. So, it could happen.
Game, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, anything can happen on the day. Like Tom said earlier on, it's a derby game. Anything can happen. How do you see that one, Tom?
Yeah, I'm going Bradford as well. I don't see Bradford being as bad as they were last week. If they took their eye off last week and focused more towards this week, maybe.
Yeah.
And like you say, there is just inconsistencies in the Leeds performance. I mean, if Leeds turn up and play the best game, they will blow them away.
Yeah,
It's certainly a game. It's certainly a game Bradford could win, 100%. And they'd want to play, but they'd want to beat Leeds, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's an argument for both sides, isn't there? Especially, on Good Friday of all fixtures. Saturday's games we have Warrington, Lee, Huddersfield, York, Catalan, and Toulouse in the French derby.
I do need to say, by the way, if Wigan had lost that game to Huddersfield, my prediction would have been a lot different.
Yeah, but woulda, coulda, shoulda, because they did lose against Giants.
Of course they did.
So I'll take that. I won't look into these games too much, fellas. Warrington or Lee, Jordan?
Warrington.
Yaz?
Hate to say, but Warrington.
Tom, what we're seeing this one, mate?
Yeah, I'm going Warrington.
Yeah, I'm going to go Wire. Very similar to what I said about Rhinos. I think Lee are so inconsistent at the minute, even though they dragged themselves through that game at weekend. I don't see them beating Warrington. Huddersfield, York, Jordan. Huddersfield, bear in mind they're at home.
I'm going to say Huddersfield.
Do you know what? Just the fact that you're using the word bro, you deserve to be rage baited.
I can't see any of these comments coming through.
Oh, it's Teenage Warrior gabbing on.
You two are like lovers.
Every time you mention Wigan losing, he starts kicking off.
Gaz, I live with 3 females, yeah, and I don't have this many arguments with all 3 of them.
You know what I'm like. I can't leave anything alone. I have to go on the wind up.
Huddersfield or York, Gaz?
Post. Do you know what? This is a tough one for me. This, especially after like Huddersfield beating Wigan at the weekend. York could bounce back. Oh God. York Golden Point.
Ooh, controversial.
Not at all, mate. Not at all.
I'm gonna go with the Giants. I think Liam Finn can get his second win. They've got bodies back, like I said previously, and I think they'll just have enough squad depth to deal with that situation. And being at home, I think that'll pay dividends. So Huddersfield for me. Tom, how are you seeing that one, mate?
Yeah, I'm going York.
York. Nice. Did I ask you, Jordan? I can't remember now.
Yeah, 2 apiece. I said Huddersfield.
2 apiece. Nice. So, yeah, final game on Saturday is Catalan at home to Toulouse Olympique. Catalan can play no worse than they did in that first half at the weekend against Hull FC. So, for that, I am going the Dragons for a home win. Jordan?
It's good. It's going to be weird for me to say this. I know you probably all agree. Maybe it's not a ridiculous thing to say, I suppose. But I think this might be the game of the round
Potentially, yeah.
because Catalans, like I say, haven't been hitting highs, but obviously they're starting to get back in there, and obviously Toulouse are playing really well. So I think that's going to be a really tight game. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a golden point winner. I'm going to say Toulouse.
Do you know what? I'm going to say Toulouse, and for one specific reason. There's going to be a much bigger away following than what Catalans are used to.
Yeah.
And I think they can make it feel like they're playing away.
Yeah, it's that's the good thing, isn't it? We're struggling. If we was to do a podcast 4 or 5 years ago, you'd be knocking these results out knowing full well they're pretty much formalities. Whereas now the competition's that tight, you're like, oh, I don't know, that could go this way, or that'll be a golden point win, etc. That home advantage can pay dividends. So it just shows you that the competition is a lot closer than it has been in previous years. I mean, how do you see that French derby going, Tom?
Yeah, I'm going to lose. Just like you said, obviously, Catalan aren't hitting the heights that we're used to seeing. And just to lose every game that I've seen them play, there's just no quitting them. So I just don't. I think that Catalan could get ahead, but I don't think Toulouse will go away.
No, it'll certainly be another tight game, that is for sure. And to close rival round out on Sunday, we have the Castleford Tigers at home to Wakefield Trinity. Cass had a good win at the weekend, but I'm going Trinity all day long. And with it being Sunday, I'll go twice on a Sunday as well. You're going Wakey, Gaz? Jordan?
Definitely going Wakefield, yeah.
Wakey, yeah.
Yeah.
Wakefield.
Yeah, so that's unfortunately for Ryan Carr and his men, that's for 4-0 for the Yorkshire for a Saint podcast predictors. We're pretty much coming to the back end of the episode now, guys. I mean, I touched on the WhatsApp community group, mate, so we don't need to go from that. I believe there's a little bit of a small announcement before we sign off.
Yeah, so tomorrow night we've got George Flanagan Sr. joining us, have a chat about his career and everything else, so that should be interesting. So again, thank you for everyone joining us, even Teenage Warriors had a good crack with us. Just keep liking and sharing, subscribe. And remember, the podcast is for the fans, by the fans.
Yes, Tom.